Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you like what you hear today, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future deep dives. Today we're going to be unpacking a couple of articles by Sylvia Ola,
Oh, yeah.
and they really kind of turn conventional HR wisdom on its head.
Yeah, she really shakes things up.
Yeah, so get ready to rethink what you thought you knew about employee motivation and engagement.
Totally. And, she's not afraid to make some bold statements. Like, she flat out argues that while employee needs are backed by, real science,
Right.
a lot of HR practices are kind of stuck in the dark ages, relying on these flimsy rules of thumb.
So are companies essentially just like throwing darts at a board when it comes to motivation?
It's kind of like that, yeah. That's why Ola's perspective is so refreshing. She's like, you know what? Ditch this vague pursuit of engagement and focus on building a solid foundation of motivational practices. Like, actually, HR can even build standards for this stuff.
Hold on. Standards for motivation. I mean, that sounds almost counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't motivation this kind of elusive, individualized thing?
It seems that way, right? But Ola's argument is, even though, everyone's got their own motivations, the basic principles of what makes people perform are actually, they're pretty consistent.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. And you know what? That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
We at the Strengths Company, that's what we do. We specialize in standardizing these HR practices to create a better employee experience, all by creating systems that support motivation. So if any of our listeners are out there and they want to learn more about that, please feel free to reach out.
Love that. Love that. Proof that Ola is onto something here. Now, to really unpack her argument, I think we need to break down how she actually defines engagement and motivation, because they're not the same thing, and Ola makes a really strong case for why.
Okay, let's do it. So let's start with engagement. I mean, it's a buzzword. We hear it everywhere. But what is Ola's take on it?
She sees engagement as the emotional side of performance.
Okay.
Like, it's that feeling of commitment, purpose, belonging. I might even go so far as to say love for the job, for the team, for the company.
So it's all about those warm fuzzies.
All right. Sign me up. Well, hold on. Not so fast. Ola points out that even though these emotions are, they're really powerful,
Right.
they're also incredibly fickle.
Oh, yeah.
Engagement relies on this whole complex web of human relationships and, feelings, and those are constantly changing.
Well, that just sounds like a recipe for a headache if you're trying to, build a workforce that's consistently engaged.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, Ola gives this great example in one of her articles. She talks about this company that lost, like, a top performer.
Oh,
And it wasn't because of anything the company did. It was actually because of a personal conflict
wow.
between two friends.
Wow.
Totally outside the company's control. It just highlights how unpredictable engagement can be.
It's a good reminder that you really can't force people to, feel a certain way about their work.
Yep.
No matter how many, team building exercises or whatever perks you throw at them.
Right. You can create a positive environment, but you can't manufacture genuine emotional connections.
Right.
And that's precisely why Ola says relying solely on engagement, it's a losing battle.
So that brings us to her definition of motivation.
Mm.
And I think this is where things get really interesting.
Yes.
She describes it as the action-oriented force. It's like the willpower to get things done even when we just don't feel like it.
It is. And that's the big difference, right? Engagement is about feeling, motivation is about doing.
Okay.
And the good news is, Ola argues that we actually have more control over motivation because it can be influenced by, these tangible factors.
Okay, so what are some of these magical motivational ingredients that companies can actually control?
She lists things like clear goals, meaningful rewards, having regular performance chats that focus on development, adequate time off, fair compensation.
Like really practical, actionable stuff
Right.
that, shockingly, a lot of companies still get wrong.
Wait, so it's not about beanbag chairs and free snacks?
I know. You've been misled.
I've been lied to.
Right. It's like those perks, they might create a momentarily happier workforce,
Right.
but they don't address the core drivers of motivation that Ola's talking about.
Yeah.
It's like trying to build a house on a foundation of sand.
Oh, okay, so we got to ditch the fluffy stuff, get back to basics.
Exactly.
So how does all of this tie back to relationships in the workplace?
Yes,
Because Ola has a very specific view on that, too.
she does. And this is where she really flips the script on conventional HR thinking.
Okay.
She's like, good relationships between colleagues and even with managers. It's not about engagement. It's about motivation.
Now that's a curveball. I totally would have thought those strong bonds, that's all under the engagement umbrella.
Right.
So why does she make that distinction?
Because those relationships, they directly affect the work environment, right?
Yeah.
The systems, the processes, the interactions, all that stuff that either helps or hinders people from actually doing their jobs well.
Okay.
And remember, engagement, it's about the emotions. Motivation is about the action.
So if, let's say, there's a toxic manager or there's constant conflict on a team, that's actually a motivational issue
It is.
because it directly impacts, people's ability to show up and do their best work.
Exactly. But so often, organizations misinterpret this. They see it as an engagement problem
Right.
and try to fix it with, these surface-level solutions.
Ah, yes, the infamous pizza party solution.
So the pizza
To
party,
all of life's problem.
Ola would not approve.
She would not approve.
Not at all. She's like, pizza parties don't fix a toxic manager
No.
or a dysfunctional team dynamic.
Right.
These motivational issues need to be addressed head-on,
Directly.
not masked with temporary fixes.
Okay, so we've talked about how engagement is this wild, unpredictable thing.
Yes.
And motivation can be influenced by these concrete actions.
But which one's actually easier to achieve, according to Ola?
This might surprise you, but she actually thinks that in a lot of cases, motivating employees is easier.
Really? Why is that? I always thought, getting people excited, passionate about their work, that's the holy grail.
Right. It's what we're told.
Mm-hmm.
But Ola's argument is that motivation is easier because you can focus on those specific, tangible things that drive each individual. She even uses herself as an example. She says, you know what? I'm motivated by trust. Like if my manager trusts me to do my job, I'll find a way to get it done.
So it's really about understanding the individual
Yeah.
and tailoring your approach to that.
And,
But with engagement, you're essentially trying to cultivate love,
oh, yeah.
which is way less straightforward.
Way less straightforward. You can create a positive environment, supportive environment.
You sure?
Might make people more likely to, get those warm fuzzies.
Yeah.
But you can't force anyone to love their job or their company
Right.
any more than you can force someone to fall in love with another person.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right. You can create the right conditions, but you can't manufacture it.
You can set the stage,
Exactly.
but you can't force it to happen.
Right. Which brings us to the million-dollar question. How do we create the right conditions for motivation to thrive? And Ola actually does give us some guidance here.
Okay.
She sums it up with this golden rule for managers, HR, leaders, everyone. 80% of your effort should be focused on creating that motivating environment.
So shift the focus from chasing the engagement butterfly to building this solid foundation of motivational factors.
Yes. And you know what? While engagement is still a good thing, a desirable outcome, Ola believes it's more likely to happen organically when you focus on those core motivational drivers.
That makes sense. Now, remember, she uses a great analogy in one of the articles to illustrate this, the mountain climbing analogy.
Oh, yes. Motivation and discipline. That's what gets you to the summit.
And in the workplace, that translates to sustainable success, not just those short bursts of enthusiasm, but actually addressing those fundamental drivers of motivation.
That's the foundation we need to build on.
Absolutely. So now that we've kind of unpacked Ola's framework for understanding this whole motivation versus engagement thing, I think it's time to dive into her second article, which really gets into those often overlooked motivational theories.
Let's do it. Get into the nitty-gritty.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I'm ready to climb that motivation mountain.
This is where we really find out what makes people tick. And Ola starts off strong with this real-world story, and it's so relatable.
I love a good story. Lay it on me.
She talks about this group of managers, and they're complaining that their employees just aren't engaged,
Oh,
even though they've invested all this money in training programs.
but as we've learned from Ola, training itself, not necessarily a primary motivator.
Right.
So it sounds like maybe these managers missed the memo.
They might have. It's like they thought the training alone was going to magically transform their employees into this super passionate, high-performing team.
Right. It's like assuming if you give someone a set of tools, they're automatically going to know how to build a masterpiece.
Yeah,
You need a blueprint, a vision, the motivation to bring it all together.
totally. And that's where Ola brings in Hertzberg's two-factor theory
Okay.
to give us this framework to understand those different layers of motivation.
Right.
She uses it to explain why those managers were missing the mark.
Okay, so we've talked about Hertzberg's theory a little bit, but let's break it down in the context of this training example.
Sure.
How do those hygiene and motivating factors, how do they play out in this scenario?
Okay, well, if you think about it, providing basic training, you could consider that a hygiene factor.
Yep.
It's something employees expect.
Right.
And if it's missing or it's not good enough, people are going to be dissatisfied.
Right. It's like the bare minimum.
Right.
But just checking that box doesn't mean you've actually sparked any kind of motivation
No, not at
or
all.
enthusiasm.
It might prevent dissatisfaction, but it's not going to make people, jump out of their seats and say, I can't wait to use these new skills.
I'm so excited about this training.
Exactly.
No.
So what would a motivating factor look like in this situation?
Yeah.
Like, how could those managers have used this training to actually inspire their employees?
Right. Right.
That's where Ola gets really interesting. She says, for the training to be truly motivating, it needs to tie into those deeper drivers.
Okay.
Like achievement, recognition, growth, responsibility, all those things.
So instead of just, teaching people how to use like a new software program,
Right.
you need to show them how mastering that program will help them achieve their goals, get recognized, and, advance their careers.
Yes. Connect the dot
Connect those dots.
between the training and their personal and professional aspirations.
It's about giving them a reason to care,
Yes.
not just a new set of instructions to follow.
Exactly. And Ola gives some great examples of how this actually looks in practice. She talks about, well-planned promotions, clear succession planning, training programs that are specifically designed to support career development.
Right. Right.
Like, all of these things, powerful motivators.
Because it shows that the company is invested in their future,
Yes.
not just their present.
Not just the right now, but the future.
They're being given the opportunity to grow and develop,
Exactly.
which is incredibly motivating.
It is. And it's not just about climbing the corporate ladder. Ola also talks about the importance of giving people more autonomy and responsibility in their current roles,
Right. I like that.
which can be just as motivating.
So it's about empowering people to take ownership of their work
Yeah,
and make a meaningful contribution, no matter what their job title is.
exactly. That's a key takeaway here.
Okay.
Motivation isn't about, dangling carrots in front of people.
All right.
It's about creating an environment where they feel valued and challenged and inspired to reach their full potential.
Which, when you think about it, is much more sustainable
Oh, way more.
and impactful than relying on those fleeting, little engagement bursts that are fueled by,
Yeah.
pizza parties and team building exercises.
Right. You said it. It's about building a culture of motivation, not just a culture of fun.
Right.
And that takes real effort and a deep understanding of what actually drives human behavior.
Yeah, Ola makes a really compelling case for why this shift in focus is so important, especially in today's, constantly changing work world.
Absolutely. And it's something that, we at the Strengths Company, we're super passionate about this stuff.
Yeah.
We believe that by focusing on those core motivational drivers, you can actually create workplaces where people thrive and organizations achieve real, sustainable success.
It's a win-win for
Big
everybody.
good win.
But it all starts with that awareness, right? Recognizing that motivation isn't some mysterious force that's beyond our control.
It's not magic.
It's not magic.
It's about understanding the science and applying those principles and creating a workplace that truly inspires people to bring their best selves to work every day.
I love that. I think that's a perfect segue into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we're going to explore some practical tips and strategies to put all of this into practice.
Let's do it.
So stay with us. We'll be right back after a quick message from our sponsors. Okay, so welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
It really is a powerful question, right?
It is.
It makes me think about how much emphasis we put on, those surface level perks and all those engagement initiatives,
Right.
when maybe we should be kind of digging deeper, addressing those core motivational drivers.
Totally. It's about shifting our mindset, right?
Yeah.
From trying to manufacture this enthusiasm to actually creating an environment where motivation can just happen organically.
And that brings us back to something we talked about earlier. The strengths companies focus on standardizing HR practices. It's not just about, creating a consistent employee experience. It's about building systems that actually support those motivational principles that Ola's talking about.
Exactly. It's proof that this isn't just some pie in the sky theory.
Right.
Companies can actually put practical standards in place that drive motivation, which, creates a better experience for everybody. And hey, if any of our listeners want to learn more about how the Strengths Company can help with that, you can find all our info in the show notes.
Awesome. So let's get back to Ola's second article, because she really digs deep into some of these motivational theories
Yeah, yeah.
that we often overlook in the workplace.
Totally.
And she kicks it off with this anecdote that I found so relatable.
The one about those managers complaining about their employees' lack of engagement?
That's the one. It's like they expected the training alone to just magically transform their workforce into these passionate, high-performing individuals.
Yeah, they just assumed providing the training was enough.
Right.
But as Ola points out, the training itself doesn't necessarily address those core motivational drivers that we've been talking about.
It's like just because you give somebody, a set of tools doesn't mean they'll automatically know how to build a masterpiece.
Right.
You need a blueprint, a vision. You need the motivation to bring it all together.
And that's where she brings in Hertzberg's two-factor theory.
Okay.
To give us this framework to
Right.
really understand those different layers of motivation.
Right, to kind of break it down.
Uh-huh.
So we talked about Hertzberg's theory before, but let's break it down in the context of this training example.
Okay.
So how do those hygiene and motivating factors, how do they actually play out in this scenario?
Well, think about it. Providing basic training, you could consider that a hygiene factor.
Okay.
It's something employees just expect.
Right.
And if it's missing or it's not good enough, they're going to be dissatisfied.
Right, it's like the bare minimum.
Exactly, the bare minimum.
Yeah.
But just because you've checked that box doesn't mean you've sparked any real motivation or
Right.
enthusiasm.
It's not going to make them run out and be like, I'm so motivated.
Right, exactly.
I'm so excited about this training.
No.
So what would a motivating factor look like in this situation?
Good question.
How could those managers have used the training to truly inspire their employees?
Okay, well, this is where it gets interesting. Ola suggests that, for the training to be really motivating, it needs to tie into those deeper drivers.
Okay.
The achievement, the recognition, the growth, the responsibility, all those things.
So instead of just teaching people how to use a new software program,
Right.
you actually need to show them how mastering that program
Yeah.
will help them achieve their goals,
Uh-huh.
gain recognition, and, advance their career.
Yes. You got to connect those dots
To make the dots.
between the training and their personal and professional aspirations.
It's about giving them a reason to care.
Yes.
Not just here's your new set of instructions.
Exactly. Exactly. And she gives some great examples of how this actually looks in the real world.
Okay.
Like well-planned promotions, clear succession planning,
Oh.
training programs that are specifically designed to support career development.
Right.
All of these things can be super motivating.
Because it shows, again, that the company's invested in their future.
Yes.
Not just, hey, we just need you to, do this today.
Exactly. Not just the right now, but their future.
Right. They're being given the opportunity to grow and develop and learn, which is incredibly motivating.
It is. And it doesn't always have to be about, climbing the corporate ladder, right?
No. Right.
Ola also talks about giving people more autonomy, more responsibility
Right.
in their current roles, which can be just as motivating.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's about empowering people to take ownership of their work
Uh-huh.
and make a meaningful contribution, no matter what their title is.
That's a key takeaway here.
Yeah.
It's not about dangling those carrots. No. It's about creating an environment where people feel valued and challenged
Right.
and inspired to actually reach their full potential.
Which, when you really think about it, that's so much more sustainable
It is.
and impactful than just, relying on those little, bursts of engagement.
Right, the quick fix
Yeah.
that are fueled by the pizza parties, the team building exercise.
Which we're not saying those things are bad,
They're not bad.
but they're not the be-all and end-all solution.
Exactly, they're not the foundation.
Yeah.
Right? It's about building a culture of motivation.
Yes.
Not just a culture of fun.
Ooh, that's good.
And that takes real effort
Uh-huh.
and a deep understanding of what really makes people tick.
Yeah, Ola makes such a good case for why this shift in focus is so important, especially now in today's constantly changing work environment.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's something that, we at the Strengths Company, we're just obsessed with this stuff. Because we believe that by focusing on those core motivational drivers, you can create workplaces where people thrive and organizations achieve real lasting success.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, win-win for everyone.
But it all starts with that awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing that motivation isn't some mysterious force. It's not magic.
It's not magic.
It's not something we can't control.
You got it.
It's about understanding the science, like
Applying it
applying those
and
principles.
creating a workplace that inspires people,
Yeah.
to really bring their best selves to work every day.
Well said, well said. And I think that is the perfect segue into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we're going to explore some practical tips and strategies to put all of this into practice.
Awesome. Let's do it.
So stay with us. We'll be right back after a quick message from our sponsors. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive. Okay, so let's wrap up this whole exploration of motivation versus engagement.
Yeah.
We've really dissected Ola's article.
You did.
And now it's time to, put these insights into action.
It is time to ditch those, fleeting engagement tactics
Yeah.
and trade them in for something that actually creates lasting motivation.
I like that. So for our listeners out there who are ready to, make that shift,
Yeah.
where do we even begin?
Well, remember that foundation we talked about?
Yeah.
It all starts with, really understanding those core drivers.
Okay.
The achievement, the recognition, the growth, the responsibility.
Yeah, those fundamental motivators.
Uh-huh. And just as importantly, it's about understanding, what each individual on your team, what do they aspire to?
So step one is we ditch the generic engagement service.
Ah, the surveys.
And we actually start having real conversations with our employees.
Yes. Talking to people.
Okay, actually ask them, hey, what motivates you?
What are your goals?
What challenges you? What do you hope to achieve?
Yeah, and don't just, go through the motions.
Yeah.
Actually listen,
Yeah.
take notes, ask follow-up questions.
Be engaged.
Yeah, really try to get, a deep understanding of their perspective.
Right, because that's the gold. Right.
It is. It's gold. It's like unlocking the secrets to creating a workplace where people feel, valued and inspired.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got the intel. We know what makes our people tick.
We got it.
Now what?
Now we put it into action.
Right.
Bring in those personalized development plans, look at flexible work arrangements, provide opportunities for growth, for advancement.
So we're tailoring our approach
Uh-huh.
to each individual and giving them, the tools and resources they need.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say someone's motivated by recognition.
Yeah.
Make sure you're regularly acknowledging their contributions, celebrating their wins.
Celebrating those wins.
Yes. And if someone, thrives on autonomy, give them the space to work independently.
Back off a little bit.
Yeah, no micromanaging.
No micromanaging.
And, if someone is really eager to learn and grow, give them opportunities for training, for mentorship, for challenging assignments that push them outside their comfort zone.
Help them grow.
Yeah. So you're creating this truly personalized experience.
Yeah, I love it. It's it caters to each person's needs and aspirations.
Exactly.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory.
Yeah.
But how do we make sure it's not just a one-time thing?
Right. How do we keep the momentum going?
Yeah, how do we keep that motivational momentum?
Well, it's the ongoing work.
Yeah.
It's about regular check-ins, open communication.
Stay connected.
Yeah. And a willingness to adapt your approach as needed.
Be flexible.
Because remember, people change,
Right.
Their motivations evolve. The workplace is always changing.
Constantly changing.
So it's about staying flexible, staying curious, and never assuming you have all the answers.
And never stop learning.
Right. And don't be afraid to experiment. Try new things. See what works, what doesn't. Because what motivates people in one context might not work in another.
That's so true. So as we're, wrapping up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge.
Okay, a challenge.
A challenge that hopefully will get them thinking.
Spark some reflection.
Yeah, and hopefully inspire some action.
Action.
So here's the challenge. What is one thing you can change in your workplace today to shift the focus from chasing that elusive engagement to actually cultivating that long-term motivation?
I love that question. Something for everyone to really think about.
Yeah, every leader, every manager, even every team member.
Because we all have the power, right?
We do.
To create a more motivating and fulfilling work experience for ourselves and for the people around us.
And on that inspiring note, we will bid you farewell until our next deep dive.
See you next time.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep exploring this fascinating world of knowledge.
Bye, everybody.